Hey guys, good morning. I'm headed out to a job that I've been trying to finish up now for a few days, and I just wanted to get on here and I thought about this job today. When I get on YouTube, I see all these rigs, and you know, Joe Deary, I think he has the best truck set up on YouTube. I love the way his truck's set up, just everything about it. Mark Commodity, I still can't remember his name, but the Fresh Rinse, I think he has one of the cleanest, if not the cleanest, trailer skids, trailer builds, you know. And then he went through and redid it this year and talked about what he did, and I think that's just great. You know, if I was building a truck or I'm building a trailer, I'm going to look and see what they did and try to mimic those, because I just think they're awesome. That being said, my truck skid isn't anywhere comparable to theirs, and that's not me trying to down mine. It's just I've not progressed like they have. And so, you know, I've watched their channels, I've followed along on their channels, and I love their upgrades. I love to be able to see, you know, the people that you support, people you subscribe to. I love to see them get better and get better equipment and make themselves more efficient. I'm going to put a picture here. When I first started 8 years ago, you know, offering a little bit of pressure washing, the first paying job that I ever went to, I didn't even have a truck. I didn't have a truck the first year I had a lawn service. I was borrowing a truck, but I had a trailer and a mower. So anyway, I know that's kind of crazy to think about, and it was a hassle, and you know, if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But I started out with a 2.5 gallon a minute machine, and the first two jobs that paid me to wash their house, I put it in the front seat of my Honda Accord, and I have a picture of it that I'm going to put in here because that's what I had. I put my hoses in the back, I put the pressure washer in the front seat, it fit perfect, and I didn't think nothing about it. And I'll never forget going out that day, and I said, hang on a minute, and I got my phone and I took a picture. I said, I want to take a picture of this because years from now I'm going to see that progression, and I'm going to be able to look back and go, yeah, I've changed this much. So fast forward to the next year, I get a truck. I don't really do a whole lot of washing, it's just lawn mowing. And you know, the next 2 or 3 years I may have washed the house here and there, but it isn't, you know, like I'm really busy with it. But I keep watching videos and I keep thinking, well, you know, when the time comes, when I do get the jobs, I want to be ready for them. So I have a 2.5 gallon that I bought as a Troy belt from Lowe's. It was junk. The needle always kept getting clogged with debris. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it wouldn't. I bought 2 of them. Neither one of them lasted that long at all. So then when I upgraded, I got a 2.5 with a Honda motor, and it was great. I mean, that motor, when my pump gave out on it, the motor would still pull and be just fine. But with that 2.5, I'd put it in the truck bed. I didn't have any kind of skid, but I put the 2.5 in the truck bed, and I'd just throw all the hoses in the truck bed. So I'd go out and I'd have to untangle all the hoses the best I could, and I always kind of felt like it looked like a hack, but at the same time I was just out working. So if that's what I had to do, that's what I had to do. And with it being a 2.5 gallon a minute machine, I only ran, for the longest time, I only ran like the 50-foot hose that came with it. Or no, it was like a 35-foot hose, and it was just plastic. So I had a 50-foot water hose, a 2.5 gallon a minute machine. I had my 5 gallon bucket with my downstream injector, and I just kind of shimmied around the house when I washed it. I'd you know, soap a side down, and I'd go as far as my hose would let me, and then I'd rinse, and then I'd go to the next section. Well, then I upgraded to I had a 2.5, and I was throwing away a hose reel, and it was just like a cheap, it's actually kind of dry rotted, cheap hose reel, and I'd have to put my foot on it, stick it on the ground, and reel it up. And I think I put my water hose or my pressure hose on it, I can't remember, but I'd sit there and I'd reel it up, and I was good, right? I'd put that hose reel in the back of the truck, and I was like, man, that made me a lot more efficient. That helped me out tremendously. Well, then I said, I got to get more efficient. So I built a skid, still running at 2.5, still toting around 5-gallon buckets. And I built a wooden skid, the same skid that I have now. This was like 4 years ago, I believe. And I built a shelf for my hose reels. I had a flap so I could put the pressure washer and, anything up there. And so I've evolved through the years, the last 4 or 5 years with that, in how to be more efficient. So I buy cheap airline reels, air hose reels, and I'd reel my water hose up, my pressure hose, the soft wash hose. And I thought I was, in high cotton, because that was a big deal to be able to reel those hoses out instead of having to throw them in the back of the truck and undo them. So that was like a huge blessing just to do that. All right, well then my pump went out on the 2.5, and I wanted to upgrade, so I upgraded to a 4-gallon a minute machine. Also with the 2.5, I had a 4-foot wand with a little like 14-inch Briggs & Stratton surface cleaner. Pre-treated it and used it, and it was slow, but it worked. So then my pump goes out on that one. I get a 4-gallon a minute machine. I upgrade my pressure hose to a general pump pressure, or general pump reel, and I hard plumb it to the pressure washer. So then all I got to do is pull my water hose off, hook it up, pull my pressure hose off I need, and I'm ready to go. And that was a game changer. I had a cheap hose reel, the same one I still have my soft wash hose on, and I tried hard plumbing it, but the insides, it just wasn't made for it, and it ate the insides out in no time. But so then I had the 4-gallon a minute machine. I was still running off little 5-gallon totes. I had my mix in a 55-gallon drum if I was going to go do a house wash or whatever, or a roof wash or pre-treating concrete. And being able to get that 4-gallon a minute machine enabled me to get 200 foot of hose. I upgraded that's good hose, no cheap plastic stuff. The plastic stuff that comes with it, the bleach will eat it away, and it won't last hardly any time at all if you're using it any amount of time. So I definitely recommend getting a good pressure hose, HPC, Suttner, whichever one. Everybody makes different ones. But I do recommend that. But that 4-gallon minute allowed me to go to 200 foot of hose. And that 200 foot of hose has been plenty on every house I've done, except for like one job I did. And that was doing like 2 blocks of concrete cleaning. And I actually used the extra 50 foot that came with my pressure washer. So fast forward that to 4-gallon a minute machine. I got 2 5-gallon totes that I'm pulling my downstream mix, and I'm always having to mix into it. And I have my hose on a hose reel, and I'm a lot more efficient. Well, I get the idea. Okay, well, I'm always pulling from this tank, so instead of having to hook up my tank, why don't I just run a downstream tube in it and see if it'll pull from the big tank? So I did that. Guess what? It worked. So I eliminated 2 5-gallon totes. I eliminated having to hook my pump up to pump it from the big tank to the small little tanks, and all I had to do is make sure I had enough mix, and I just went about my business. It made me a lot more efficient. And on of a hassle. Now, for a transfer pump, I think it would have been great. For a transfer pump, I would recommend it if you was going to be able to plug it in and have it in that one place all the time. I would do that in a heartbeat. But it just didn't work good for what I was doing. So I upgraded my pump. I put it on a marine battery so I could plumb it in to my big 55-gallon tank. So I'm pulling the same mix from my 55-gallon tank to do a roof or concrete cleaning as I am for downstreaming. Just have different tubes coming out. And I've been doing that now for 2 years. This is the second year doing that, and it has worked great. I still run the general pump, 200 foot of hose. I still got a 4-gallon a minute machine. But the evolution of putting that pressure washer in the front seat of that Honda Accord and the hoses, you know, just being like what you would have at your house, compared to upgrading the machine, upgrading the hose reels, having a skid that you can put everything on, being able to just go to a property and pull the hoses off that you want and then reel them back up, and it's a clean in and out. Like, that is night and day difference. So this is my first full year of just pressure washing. The years past, I was doing like half and half. I do half mowing, half pressure washing. Some weeks I'd be really busy. Some weeks I wouldn't be. And so, that being said, I realized that if I was going to be able to make pressure washing my main priority, I had to make it my main priority and get rid of the mowing business, and that's what I did. So this is my first full year of pressure washing, and you know, so far this year has been great. But I was going through pictures the other day, and I seen the picture of the pressure washer in the front seat of my Honda, and I just wanted to do like an update, because guys, you're going to see people in your neighborhood, people in your city, county. They're going to have businesses, and you know, they may progress more than you do. Don't get down on yourself. Take it as you can, upgrade when you can, and just evolve when it's time. So if you feel like you can get that bigger machine, get it. If you feel like you can get that extra little bit of hose, do it. If you want to build a cheap wood skid, do it. You don't have to wait for a $4,000 aluminum skid. You can spend, you know, $100 or so and build a wood skid like I have. Now, are the aluminums gonna last longer? Of course they are. But you gotta use what you have. And so, like I said, I just wanted to get on here today. I had a long drive out to this job, and that's been on my mind because I seen that picture the other day, and I was like, I want to let people know how I've evolved. You may look at my skid and say, well, he doesn't have an 8, he don't have aluminum, and he doesn't have 4 ladders, and he doesn't have a Whisper Wash surface cleaner, and you know, he doesn't have the, you know, $400 square tanks. My stuff's pretty basic, but it is basic that it is simple, and it works great for what I need. Do I want upgrades? Heck yeah, I want upgrades. I wanted the aluminum skid and electric hose reels and an 8-gallon a minute machine and a buffer tank. I want all that, but I know that it'll come in time. I'm not stressing over it. Yes, it is things that I want, and it is things that I know that I will get as I continue pressure